Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on a little bell on the side so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one of getting all the insight. Today's video, I would like to take you a little bit of glimpse to actually check out how a visa refusal looks like. Now, the reason I do that is I've received a lot of inquiries in regards whether or not picking a cheap courses and apply for visa and assuming the visa will be granted, but unfortunately that's not the case. Obviously, you'll notice about the genuine temporary entrant, which I have done long ago in this channel. You might want to search that, and also I've done numbers of video in regards to how to revive a visa cancellation or refusal back to a normal visa. But today's aim is actually to show you how student visa actually works, and we are looking at the negative side, a bad side, how it had effect on visa applicants, and I'll take 3 examples to show you and how you could better prepare for success of student visa. Now, obviously, people are talking about what are you talking about having a successful student visa application? That's a joke. No, that's not a joke, because if you don't have a student visa successfully granted, you probably won't even land it and arrive in Australia, and not even talking about skilled migration further on. So let's have a look. The first example, first sample, not example. So this is actually live. As you can see, this was dated to 2021 October 26. Now I've obviously removed all the ID for the purpose not to privacy concerns. Now, as you can see, all these samples I'm going to show you is all about 500 visa subclass. That's a student visa, and it's a refusal, meaning that this application was lodged but unsuccessful. Okay, so it obviously given the right. Now this guy is actually unsure, so he could actually appeal. Now if you lodge this and you receive a refusal offshore, meaning that you're not in Australia, you wouldn't have this one. I'm gonna show you the other 2 samples which were done offshore, so not even having an opportunity to review it. So this guy is actually unsure, so he could actually lodge a review, and which I have assisted the client to get it done. So let's jump into the actual decision record. So decision record is the major part how a immigration officer landed with his or her decision to review. So they would document it in the decision record. So at the beginning, how the structure of the official notification is in the decision record is the immigration officer will cite the actual law regards to this, and as you see, there's a ministerial direction number 69, which is assessing genuine temporary entrant criterion, which I have in this channel I've shared this information a lot. You probably can actually search it, and there's probably a lot of people are talking about this on the forum as well, but here I'm showing you live how this is actually being noted and sent to visa applicants. So in summary, the factors they're talking about: your circumstances, home countries. I've done this before in previous video. Your potential circumstances in Australia and your current situation, and how the future that you aim for, all using these criteria to assess whether or not this visa applicant is a genuine student. Obviously, a lot of people say, yeah, I'm a genuine student, but the problem is over the past 10 years they were a student, they were visa applicant, they are not genuine. They came at the first day or second day, or probably the first month or week. They change their course, change their universities, and they do something else. They are breaching the visa condition, and that is why these laws are out there to hunt these people. So they're giving a rates how significant and how risk of this application is. If it's gonna be high, they'll refuse it under the GTE criteria. And also, look, they are looking into your history as well. So that's visa history, your immigration history. So if you had a visa refusal in the past, that is definitely gonna affect you for all the visa that you're trying to do in the future, and that including not just Australia, that include going to anywhere else, because all of these things will be passed electronically and shared in the globe. Okay, now, so this guy, now this is the meat. So this is the all the above is all copy and paste. Okay, all copy and paste by the case officer. Now here we go. That's the actual case officer writing. So he or she says, or is it he or she? Let's have a look. Is it Lisa? Okay, she said, okay, I've given a record of applicant circumstances in home country. Applicant complete the most recent education, year 12 certificate in Hong Kong. The applicant employed pastry cook overseas 2006 and 2010. So the applicant was a pastry cook. I acknowledge that the applicant has close family relative in home country, but I find the economic incentive remain in Australia is much stronger. Wow, how did she, the case officer Lisa, found this? Okay, the applicant claims that the intention to open restaurant with their wife, well, that's a typo, can't be their wife, his wife in Taiwan. Again, you can see that there's a grammar in problem. So English for this officer is not really good. How can the wife be there? Okay, anyway, however, the applicant has not provided information detail expected business operation, expected remuneration in doing so. As of such, the not demonstrated course will significantly improve the life of future employment remuneration. Now, this is actually very picky. The reason I'm saying that is because, look, I haven't even graduated. How can I have a business plan for my future? Even though I planning to have a business restaurant in Taiwan with their wife. But anyway, with his wife. So this is actually picking. At the end of this video, I will summarize the reason why these case officers were directed by the department to do so. Okay, I will summarize the reason why they're doing this. I've given regard applicant circumstances in Australia. Applicant process proposing an undertake certificate 3 commercial cookery and certificate 4 commercial cookery and diploma hospitality management. The applicant has declared that they are employed as a commerce chef in Australia from November 2010 to 2014, and then chef was November 2016 to 2019. So in Australia, the applicant claimed after serious discussion with my wife, whoa, wasn't it their wife? Well, it should be his wife. Anyway, whatever it is, now I decided to start study commercial cookery hospitality. I work as a pastry chef before. I'm interested in cookery, well, which is quite genuine now. He was a pastry cook. Now he wanted to become a commercial cook, and with becoming a chef, so that's a higher rank. I don't understand why this is struck out. So I can charge the kitchen, my wife can take care of the management. I believe the cookery hospitality course and gain me a kitchen skill knowledge, blah blah blah. And then let's have a look how the case officer will think about this. So however, the applicant has not providing information detail of their expected business operation. Again, what? Now hasn't even graduated yet. How do you have a business plan? I mean, let's have a look. Which Australian students going to TAFE, study a cookery course, will have a business plan in their head and provide business plan? Anyhow, I don't know who will actually do that in the reality world. Okay, anyway, so they are using that you do not have a business plan to actually reject your visa. Okay, and at the end, I've given regards to the value of course of applicants' future. Know that believe they gain kitchen skill, blah blah blah. But again, the applicant has not demonstrated substantial improvement rising proposed study warrant substantial expenses associated in international education. I have serious concern that applicants' main purpose in applying now another typo. How do I read this one? Student, anyway, it should be student visa to Australia is maintain resident in Australia. Consider the above matter, blah blah blah. So this is the reason this case officer Lisa, which who has a very bad English grammar, reject this visa applicant. Let's take a look at the second sample. Now, second sample was applied offshore. So again, it was relevant. I took the very recent cases to actually show you what happened there. Now, obviously, these are not done with the intention to actually get visa refused. We did advise client, and we do receive client, they got visa refused and came to us and say, oh, what do we do? So obviously this is offshore. So again, the differences here is that the review right, there's no review right because they are offshore. They're not even in Australia. Okay, so let's jump into the meat, which is the decision record. Again, they will cite the law again. So as you can see, it's exactly the same. This page are exactly the same. You see that? That's exactly the same. Okay, now here we go. Start with now another typo again. Inconsidering any. Is it I considering? Inconsidering? Anyway, let's see. Who is the case officer? Okay, Selma. Let's see. Okay, this is a very short decision, and have a look at how Selma actually describe the decision, how they rejected it. Okay, so it's still using the GTE, which is Ministerial Direction 69. So, in considering applicants' genuine temporary entry criteria, so this is all the same. I have considered the circumstances of home country, blah, blah, blah. So this is almost the same. I find these ties do not, of themselves, constitute a strong incentive to return home completion of the proposed course, proposed study. The applicant has declared she is currently employed with Aon Credit Service Asia in Human Resource Department as Customer Service Officer. However, the applicant has not clearly demonstrated the benefit of undertaking the proposed course in Australia, how it will benefit career prospects. So that what Selma was saying is that, well, the change of course, a career, you were doing this, now you're studying this, how would this connect? Why are you studying this? This seems to be not even connected to your background at all. So here we go. So I am not satisfied that the applicant demonstrates sufficient economic tie in her home country. I'm therefore not satisfied. Okay, I've considered applicant potential circumstances. So what did this applicant trying to study? Now, she tried to study certificate for commercial cookery and diploma hospitality. Now, see, there is a common here. Now, there are probably too many people applying for cookery course. Now, this applicant was working as, seemed to be in admin, so a customer service officer. Now, that's a people work in the office. Now suddenly want to change her career to become a chef, and that's where there is no connection there, and the officer is utilizing this to actually reject the visa application. I acknowledge the applicant's statement, her application, which state that she wishes to study Australian because of a quality education. However, the applicant has not demonstrated that her substantive research of study option in the country raised concern regarding motivation to study in Australia, career employment, enrollment in vocational education sector, bring into question understanding her circumstances will be in Australia. Cannot satisfy. I have considered the value of the future English speaking chef and Western style, and then at the end she basically struck out and not satisfied and giving and granting the visa. So as you can see, there's a common thing that both of these applicants picked cookery courses. Now probably there were too many people pick cookery courses, so the immigration officer is striking out a lot of these applications. Now the final sample, let's have a look. A little bit earlier, 20th of October. Again, I've removed all the ID identification. Now this is offshore. As you can see, there is no review right there. Now let's jump down the end. Now who is the case officer? Okay, Natasha. No, different now. Okay, now as you can see in the decision record, same thing is copy paste. They cited 500.212 and then Ministerial Direction 69. Again, all the same as the other matter, blah blah blah, in considering blah blah blah. That's all the same. Now This case officer Natasha even used bold. Wow, very creative. I have given regards applicants' circumstances in their home country. Now, by the way, very good grammar for Selma and the second sample. No spelling error there. I have considered applicant's circumstances according to the information supported. The applicant has declared that they're married and that their wife, again, their wife. Oops. How can a wife be shared by multiple people? I'm not too sure how that will work. Okay, parents reside in Hong Kong. The applicant has declared at their highest level of completion schooling outside Australian secondary school year 11 equivalent to completion in 2007. Now the GTE blah blah blah, talking about their employment, production assistant back in 2009 2010, takeaway shop between 2011 to 2014, technical consultant since 2019. The applicant has not demonstrated any asset, has not shown any assets, no evidence of any economic circumstances tied to Hong Kong, nor the applicant demonstrate asset or economic circumstances in their family. So again, obviously the application has demonstrated they has some sort of cash sitting in the bank, but do they need assets? I mean, cars, house, apartments. So does that mean applicant who has been rented all their life be discriminated of? Well, I'm not too sure. That's for you to judge. Everyone can leave a comment right down below why I acknowledge that the family may act as a title of Hong Kong, but again, they're not satisfied. So what course did she pick? So, this applicant picked 2 vocational vets level courses over the next 3 years. And what are these courses? Okay, so they've got 3. It's automotive. So it must be a male applicant. The applicant state that completion of the course will return back home to the automotive industry. While it is reasonable to study, hope, and improve the job prospect, I'm concerned the applicant has not demonstrated detailed, convincing testimony evidence of how they will achieve against the prevailing employment circumstances or individual and anticipated education background, nor have they clearly demonstrated remuneration, reasonable expect qualification, and blah blah blah. Now, let's and at the end here, I've given regards to immigration history now. Declare that working holiday in New Zealand, so that's not the matter. Anyway, conclusion is that the it was struck out again. So let me summarize. Now these 3, we can find these common here. So make sure that you don't get into this trap. The common is that these 3 refusals were all based on vet courses. So certificate 4 and diploma, cookery, automotive, they're all the common courses. I'm pretty sure there are a lot more other vet courses, refusals out there. Now, I've rarely seen any bachelor or master courses being rejected. So that's one thing that we need to understand. That I've informed a lot of visa applicants that you need to pick and choose your courses wisely. Now, second thing is that once they see diploma, obviously the immigration office will have red alert goes on. All right, there's another diploma courses, student visa. Let's use Ministerial Direction 69. Check all their history. Check whether or not they have assets. How many wife have their wife, whatever, and then histories, what they did, what they done. They were back in admin work in the office, suddenly want to become a cook. How will that work? And you have never done this before, now you want to become automotive mechanics. How will that work? How your future actually be prominent for yourself. So again, now I've done a study on this one. You must know that there's a student visa framework, simplified student visa framework, which given the score to particular courses. Now I noticed these institutions provide these courses. They are all private. Now there's nothing wrong with private courses. Now there's a Le Cordon Bleu, there's a big Blue Mountain, a big private institutions. Their success rate is actually very high. But I noticed that a lot of these very cheap courses provided by the private institutions has very high rejection rate. Now, the reason is the immigration department do have a lot of record which we are not able to access with. They will know in the past history of this institution how many students actually passed and graduated, how many students actually failed and breached the visa and be refused with the visa or rejected or cancellation of visa. More of these stats stacked up, with this institution, the institution's score will be much lower, meaning that higher risk. So are you still looking to choose and pick a very cheap courses for student visa purposes? I'm not saying it's not gonna be successful, but the risk is actually very high. Anyway, should you have more question or comment, more than welcome to leave it right down below, and I'll see you next video. Goodbye.